All righty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. Happy Monday to you. Oh, it's a crap day. We're seeing I say crap day. I mean, just kind of crappy as far as volatility goes. Stocks are slightly higher. Ooh, sorry, the Monday morning. I got the Monday morning yawns. They come without fail. And so let's take a look at the S&P really quick. Let's just kind of deep dive a little bit into the technicals. I mean, you guys know that we're obviously on support, and you probably saw the webinar where I'm like, okay, 2 points of articulation right there. Did I say articulation? 2 points of your arm has 2 points of articulation, and this trend line has 2 points of oh my God, what is the word I'm looking for this morning to describe that? Anyway, you guys can help me out. But 2 touches right there on that trend line. And then, if you obviously drop that trend line, you're going to go through the wicks there. But what I think we should probably do at this point, let's delete this fib since we overshot it anyway. And let's go from the low to the high. And at this point, you can see that 50% retracement is going to be really important. So, obviously bulls don't want to see below that. So this is the trend line as far as the old trend line goes. Now, if you move this, it's still not too far away. So I'm going to just do this. The 4450 is going to be pretty key support. And that's all I think we should really just, be writing today. Now, let's talk about resistance really quick this morning, because let's say we get a good, here we go, 4450, right? Let's say we get a good bounce in risk this morning, which it's already happening, but let's say it continues, right? Where can we go? Well, my opinion is we're probably going to go to about that breakdown point, which is right here, which would be the 618 retracement, which is 45. Let's delete this. 45.17. So let's just call it 45.15, which is also the 618 retracement, right? So that is, if you guys are looking for a place to like sell risk, that's what I would do. I'd be looking to sell risk up there. That's what I would be thinking. If you're gonna be selling, the S&Ps. And like I said, let's just say it's let's say it is we get a turnaround Tuesday, we get a bump up in risk, like, mutual fund Monday. You guys know the drill. Mutual fund Monday, turnaround Tuesday. Most of the money, most of the upside is made on Mondays anyway. So in the market, so you ride it out, you ride risk up today, and then you sell it going into tomorrow. If that's how you want to play it, then just short the S&P above 4,500 today. All right, let's talk about let's go into the currency. So Euro's trying to hold this 50% retracement. I still think we can drop to the 618 retracement. But you guys have to also keep in mind, this is very similar to like the Euro Sterling. We had a false breakdown. The false breakdown gave us a reversal. Whether that holds us longer term or not is to be seen. But what I can just tell you the way I'm viewing it right at this moment. Okay. It looks something like this, right? I mean, very slight. Very slight move lower, caught everybody short, squeezed us back, but we didn't make higher highs. So we have to continue to think that we are moving lower. just not in a very rapid rate at this moment. So, at this stage, I think the 618 is doable here. And I'm going to assume while we're below 118.50, we have to continue to target 117.55. Okay. So, and if you think we have a bias right now, as far as being super bullish or super bearish, you're wrong. It's still, my opinion is we're very much range bound. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever to be, aggressively bullish or aggressively bearish. That's why the range is going to be, that's why the bias is range, excuse me. Sterling. Well, what do you do here? I guess that's support 137.25. 139 is resistance. And why don't you guys wait for a breakout, right? I mean, it's nothing to do there. Okay. 137.25. 139. Okay. Aussie. So Aussie is holding the 38% retracement. I sent out an update this morning. I think on the Aussie, I think if we do plow through this support, it's going to be bearish. So if we can get through 73.35, it should open a pretty quick drop to 72.75. So, oops. 72.75, 73.35, and then I don't even have to look. 74.20 is resistance, and we're in range. I mean, I tried selling up there all week last week. Never got triggered. Well, towards the end of the week anyway. Whew, sorry. Alexander said intersection. Yeah, the intersection of the trend line. Touch, intersection, whatever. Somewhere around there. Something like that, right? All right, Kiwi. So it's another like, okay, wrong line. I did not want to grab that. Okay, let's put that back. Okay, so you can see here, this is the 24% retracement. I'm really actually quite impressed how well the Kiwi is holding up. I know I've said that at the end of last week, and I'm just going to continue to say that because it is holding up really well. We have GDP data this week. Let me go check. Yeah, I guess we do. Thursday morning in New Zealand. So 70.75 and then 71.70. I'm pretty sure I wrote the same levels down last week. Dollar Canadian. Oh, so exciting. I'm being sarcastic. 127 is obviously a sticking point for the dollar Canadian. 127, 127.50. So we can write down both those numbers. And support mean, I'm going to write down 125.80. Obviously, I'm going to go down to this trend line too. Well, you know what? I'm not. I'm just going to write down today at 125.85. I just think that it's possible we can get to this trend line. I don't think it's today. I may be wrong, but 125.85 should be support today. Should be pretty good support. Look at Swissy. About as frustrating as they come, right? So you guys know if we can break above 92.40, then we target 92.80, which is the 127% extension right there. So I guess we can look at it like this. That means dip should hold on any dip down to 61. Let's just call it, well, let's call it 91.70 by the time we get down there. As you guys know, I'm not trading the Swissy right now, but I'll mark it up. Still range. Dollar Norway. Remember, elections happening today. So 861, 873, 861, 873. That is resistance. And we have to continue to mark this up as bearish. But while we're below that, I know I'd flipped it to range last week because I do think personally, I still feel we're more in a range, but I think we just have to continue to say, all right, well, you know, it's trading heavy as long as we're below there, right? Dollar max. So key support, as you guys know. Well, I mean, there's two. It's 1980 and then really 1970. So, but 1980. 2003. One too many zeros. Okay. So I was just drinking some coffee. Dollar yen. What a disaster this thing is. You can see the red, I mean, the red boxes. That is the break. Those are the breakout points. It doesn't even matter. All this other stuff doesn't matter anymore. So let me remove that. Let me remove this. And let's just pay attention. 109.60, 110.45. I know we keep writing down the same numbers, but 109.60, 110.45. And let me put asterisks next to both of those because, I mean, 2 touches there, 3 touches there. I mean, we are going to break out. And when we break out, it'll yield us something, right? This is almost one of those setups, and I'm not going to do it, but I'm just giving you guys some ideas here. This is one of those setups where you can actually put in an entry order above or below the resistance or below the support, probably. And it actually work. You know what I mean? Because this range is tight enough now. You know, this range is tight enough where when we do get a breakout, it'll probably, and I'm just, you know, I'm giving you guys ideas. I'm not doing it. I'm just, you know, I'd rather try to be in front of the computer at the time. You know, I think a move here above 110.50 will, you know, probably yield a 20 or 30 pip move, and down here would yield a 20 or 30 pip move, or even more. You know what I mean? But I think that the range is tight enough to yield a squeeze either direction. All right, where am I at? Dollar index. That's a 50% retracement right there. The 50% retracement. So today's high, let's just call it 92.85 because it's actually slightly higher than that, but it doesn't. Well, you know what? We're going to go 92.90 and support is down, back down here, right there. Right where? Under there. Under where? Have you guys ever played that joke with your kids? Or let me take that back. Yeah. Have you ever played that with your kids? Stelios, have you done that? Steve, have you done that? No? Steve and Stelios ran to the bathroom because they were laughing so hard. Chad says, I just stick to the classics, pull my finger. You know, my kids stopped the pulling the finger probably around 10. I had them going for a long time. I mean, just like they would laugh up until about 10, and after that, they don't pull my finger no more, which sucks. I have to pull my own finger. Dan's like crickets. I know crickets, right? You guys don't do the, hey, what's under there? Huh? No, what's under there? And you're pointing, they're like, underwear. You're like, it's made you say underwear. You guys don't do that? Oh, man. The joys of being a parent. Okay. 92.30. That's what I wanted to write. 92.30. Sorry. Guys, did I ever tell you me and my kids' conversation in the car about the S word? So kids are in elementary school. One's in like first grade. The other one's in like third grade. First grader is like in the back seat. He's like, hey, I don't want to hang out with like Jimmy anymore. I'm like, why don't you want to hang out with Jimmy? Well, Jimmy keeps saying the S word. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? Those are just words. Don't worry about it. Just, you don't have to use those words. If you use those words, or sometimes people just use those words because they're just looking for, they can't find the right word to say. And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, and then he goes, well, what's the S word mean? And I'm looking at him in the mirror, in the rearview mirror, and I said, well, the S word means poop. So, when you hear the S word, it's actually another word for poop. And my third grader, the older one, he pipes up and he goes, wait, shoot means poop? Get it? Because they're in their mind, the S word was shoot, not the other one. It was a funny conversation. I laughed my ass off for like literally days. I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. 24.85, same stuff here. 23. Nothing's changed. Resistance, this trend line obviously continues to hold, but by the time we even test the bottom of this trend line again, we're going to be at this support. So we just need to write down 1770 1835, and just that's it. And we're in a range. Sucks. Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin looked heavy, and then all of a sudden it bounced. It was kind of trading heavy. Excuse me, kind of trading heavy, and then it bounced. But it was I think that MicroStrategy CEO came out and said he's buying a bunch of Bitcoin today. So it's hitting highs. Yeah. It's part of the financial ecosystem, guys. It just is. Now it's another product for Wall Street to sell to suckers. That's all Bitcoin has become. So just the sooner you realize it, the sooner you can just say, well, I'll just be part of it. So 43.7 still, or we just need to write down 43,000, right? 43,000. I do honestly still believe that if Bitcoin, I still believe there's a lot of risk around it though. I do think it's part of like the financial ecosystem and fabric now, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't go from, 40 some thousand to like 10,000 again. I think that's entirely doable, but I think it's got to be more of a easier traded vehicle. It's hard to get like margin accounts with brokers, and it is now. I mean, I use Bitcoin Pro, but I mean, it's hard for the average, right now, most people, I should say, just can buy. That's it. You know what I mean? So it makes it a little bit more challenging. 47.5 is, I'll just call that resistance today. And I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know if Stelios and Steve are here. Steve had an important conversation with I think he's taken a personal call, so I'm not sure if he's going to be here today. Stelios is not going to be here. I don't think. You know what? Now that I'm just recalling, Stelios isn't going to be here today because his girls are coming back from the bus stop. As you guys may or may not know, Steve and Stelios, their kids just started school today. So it's they're until they're, in a good, with a good schedule, it's going to be a little difficult. Steve just got here. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, the schedule is always the same. The thing is, I don't know if it happens to other countries as well. It happens to ours, It's like, even parents that don't take their kids to school, they just like want to do it the first day, even if other, so traffic is like, unbelievable during like the first day of school, and it starts getting better, and after the first week it normalizes.
Got it. Yeah, and that's the same thing with us too. By the way, Simon said Walmart says intends to allow shoppers to make payments with Litecoin. That just came out. So that's look at Litecoin then. Oh my God, it's up 22%. Holy crap.
LTC,
huh? What's that? LTC, yeah.
Let me have a look at it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it. World's largest retailer. Well, one of the world's largest retailers. Anyway, Steve, I was just telling people that it is the first days of school for you and Stelios's kids, and as it is challenging. I mean, for this stinks. Let me just tell you guys this. My son, who both of them go to high school. They go to the same high school. My oldest son has a car. he can't drive it to school.
Why?
Because there's not enough parking. So there's like so many parking spots, like, I don't know, like 500 parking spots or whatever it is. I don't know how many. Anyway, the seniors get priority, and then the rest of the kids are on a lottery system. So if you don't get the lottery, then, so in other words, I have to take my kids back and forth to school. And my oldest son has a car sitting out front, which is awesome.
You will never become an honorary Greek. An honorary Greek would just wonder, who do I have to bribe to get my son a spot?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of greasing in this town where I live. That's for sure. I mean, this is how. And by the way, guys, my kids went from a semi-private school to now public school for high school. I've seen 3 teenagers, seniors in high school, driving 911 cabriolets, at least a dozen Range Rovers, and then every other. I mean, their cars are nicer than my cars.
Great parenting.
It's unbelievable. I'm like, I mean, look, and I'm going to leave it at this. Even if I had the money to buy my kid a 911 Cabriolet GTR,
yeah, no way,
I would never do that. Why would you take that thrill away from your kids of ever doing it for themselves? Like, you squash that. Like, I remember the day when I bought my first, I bought my first Porsche cash, and I paid for it cash. I went to a dealership here just down the street, and I paid cash for it. And I remember the feeling that I had. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to pay for it cash. I'm just saying that I remember the first time I bought my first luxury vehicle. And I would be upset if my parents took that thrill away from me. Like, I don't never want to do that to my kids. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to let you take over before I get in this deep conversation that has nothing to do with the markets. But by the way, the equity markets are coming off a little bit just as we open. I'm
here as well, guys. By the way, have you taken a snapshot of the bias chart?
I did not. And you know what? Here it is.
Let me do it. Hold on.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, one of the things that I want to mention really quick, we're really range bound in currencies, but equities are coming off, and I'm surprised they're coming off as aggressively as they are, especially with, Bitcoin rallying, Ethereum rallying, Litecoin, on this news. Simon, thank you very much, that Litecoin is going to be allowed payment at Walmart, and that's boosting those. And I think the precious metals are moving a little bit, but other than that, equities are coming off, but I don't know if I'd get too aggressive down here. Remember, this is a big support level for the stock market. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys take over because I'll just get carried away talking about other stuff.
Thank you, mate.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Let me, excuse me. Paste. No, not quite. Let me post the bias chart onto the chat room. And here we go. Okay.
So, Stel.
All right. Yes.
Let's hear from you.
Well, I said what I had to say on F.A.C.E. It's going to be all about inflation this week. So many CPI, PPI prints, and let's face it, inflation is now the most important thing, data-wise, because we know that jobs are coming back. It's only normal that jobs are coming back after this huge, this unprecedented downturn after COVID. They're coming back, maybe not at the pace that many would have liked, but they are. And interestingly, there are, in the US at least, I think there are more job openings now than there are unemployed or something like that. And this is clearly because there is not incentive yet for people to go back to work. But, the handouts are going to finish at some point. But as I was saying, I think employment is generally accepted that it's coming back slowly. The question is what's happening with inflation, which is not coming back slowly. It's actually increasing. So That's the main thing, and we get quite a few prints this week. We're seeing commodities like aluminium is now at I think over 10-year highs, 12-year highs, and natural gas is spiking. Everything is spiking. So it seems very hard for me to see
natural gas at new multi-year highs.
I find it very hard to see a scenario where all this does not get passed on to the consumer in pretty much every product and service, or most of them. So it will, and you know how things are. It's when something goes up in value, it's more difficult for it to come down, and we've seen this in many products. And I think inflation is here to stay, and we're also seeing wage growth. Wage growth in the UK. I remember the last print was something like 8% average earnings growth year on year. Okay, it's not going to stay at 8%, but still, this is it used to be 2%. So this is like 4 years worth of wage growth, or more or less in one. So this is all manifesting itself in quite a few aspects of the economy, and I really don't see this reversing just like the central bankers think it will. So at least not soon. So I'm keeping an eye on everything. As I said on FACE, you weren't there, but I said that it's difficult to have there's no direction at the moment. Equities are still grinding. Yields are very, very low. I find it very hard to understand why 10-year US is at 130 with inflation where it is. And, I really want to short.
This unbelievable decoupling between rates and nominal rates and inflation, in my opinion, Stelios is going to lead to a massive move whenever the market wakes up to the reality, which is that any expectation that central bankers are actually going to, step up their efforts and do something about it, if it proves not to be temporary, they're going to be disappointed. And then there's going to be a huge gap to close, the gap that will have been created and has already been created between realistic expectations and hopeful thinking.
Yeah. Otherwise, nothing. We haven't had any data. We start tomorrow really with more important stuff. But otherwise, even cryptos are coming back. See, the Bitcoin was down 3% or something like that. Now it's green, and so it still feels like it's risk on. And as long as yields are low, I've said this so many times, I don't see this reversing, at least not in a meaningful way. We might have a couple of days of sell-off or something, but for a consistent proper move lower, we need yields to be higher.
Having to do with risk assets, this is where we stand now. We came really, really close to the wedges trend line support. We actually kind of tested it earlier on the day today, but we still haven't broken out. So, people have to be cognizant of that, because, jumping the gun, here's the NASDAQ clearly has overperformed during the past few days. I mean, some distance away from any significant support. Here's the DAX. DAX was attempting to break down for a few days now, actually, but as you see, nice rebound today, so no real breakdown yet. So equities seem like they are thinking about having some kind of a reversal moment, but there's no confirmation. So without confirmation, and given the markets we've had post the first COVID scare that lasted, what was it, like 25 days, roughly, something like that. Not even 25 days, a little bit less, if I remember right. It was like from 25th of February to like 20th of March, but February is not a whole month. So something less than 25 days. So given the markets we have post that, I would be very, very skeptical in trying to jump the gun. Now, having said that, and despite the fact that FX hasn't really been a big mover today, we had dollar strengthening earlier, but for the time being, we seem to be reversing these type of moves. There are a couple of things, though, that are worth mentioning. One of them was the fact that natural gas is just, non-stop going higher. If you remember, I had said the next target is the 526. Now, I didn't really expect that we might reach that target within a day, but yeah, as it seems, it is likely. So, there is no real reason why you should be trying to fade strength here. I mean, this remains a beast of a market. For me, though, there is another development that's happening, which is to be expected, unconfirmed yet since we are early in the day. Crude oil is attempting to actually break higher from this corrective consolidation. And I wrote on the weekend analysis that the recent consolidation near the channel trendline resistance, shows potentially more strength coming. And as it seems, we might just about to start the next leg higher, which I wouldn't be surprised if it takes us to an 80 handle, right? So keep that in mind. Nice confluence of resistances. For the time being, we're breaking above them. If we do close like that on the day or even higher, I think we should be talking about a real breakout, and I don't think you should try to fade it. I think quite the opposite. I think it's, given the prior price action is, it's a solid breakout in the direction of the trend after a perfect corrective move, literally perfect. I mean, channeled. We found a low exactly where you would expect to find this low, and we seem to be breaking out from the, level you would be expecting to break out. Anyhow, let's wait by the end of the day to confirm. But I'm not going to be surprised if we actually do confirm by the end of the day. So crude oil, definitely one in the spotlight, if you're asking me. Now, very briefly, nothing has really changed with gold and silver, meaning I know that the short-term price action doesn't look good at all. Here's the gold market on the 4-hour chart, and here is the silver spot market on the 4-hour chart. So you can make the case that both of them are breaking down. But on the daily chart, I'm still monitoring these broken channels. Here's the gold one, and here's the silver one. And in both cases, we haven't broken back within the channel yet. So despite seeing clear signs that in the short term we remain weak, on the other hand, I would be very skeptical, and I wouldn't be shorting. I wouldn't be shorting in any case because I'd rather align myself with the medium to long term trend. But even if I wanted to trade them shorter term, that would make me skeptical. I mean, the fact that there are broken channels in the daily chart that we haven't invalidated yet. That's what I mean. Now, what else? Let me state the obvious here that, let me go back to the 4-hour chart. If we are, that's a big if, of course, right? If we are to see some weakness, here's Eurosi on the 4-hour chart. If we are to see some weakness manifesting in the equity markets, and we do actually see a valid breakdown in the S&P, which probably is going to be followed by the rest, that should give some lifeline to Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi, Pound Aussie, Pound Kiwi, right? But unless that happens, I'm still looking lower, with the preference being, of course, in Euro Kiwi and Pound Kiwi, right? Because I think the Kiwi has been overperforming the Aussie, and that makes the Euro Kiwi weaker than the Euro Aussie, and the pound Kiwi weaker than the pound Aussie. So I'm still paying attention to those as well. Now, there's nothing to discuss about having to do with the DXY. I still see very choppy price action here, so I think we need more time to decipher what's happening over there. I'm still very skeptical about Ethereum, Bitcoin, because I'm not at all certain that we've finished whatever corrective move we had lower. I think there is a chance that we're currently consolidating before we produce another leg lower, and then we can start thinking about perhaps having finished a proper corrective move. So I know that Bitcoin has turned positive on the day despite being decently negative on the day earlier. But I would still pay close attention to this. I think there is a good chance there's going to be more downside before anything else. Now, yeah, Blake mentioned Litecoin and the specific circumstances that affect it. So, but in any case, it's not something I really monitor. I mean, for me, the two basics, Bitcoin and Ethereum, is more than enough. I consider the rest to be more or less meme currencies. I mean, you know, their market capitalization is almost non-existent in comparison to the other two. Let me see. Was there something else? Yeah. USD NOK. Where is it? There it is. So USD NOK, I'm still short. In my opinion, nothing has changed. I see this recent consolidation, which has already lasted several days, but as long as we stay below like 873, 875, let's say, roughly that area, I still think that the path of least resistance remains to the downside, right? Somebody can make the same argument, although I think that the USD NOK clearly looks weaker. But somebody can make the same argument in the case of USD CAD as long as it trades below like 127.50, right? Although here, you know, between the two of them, I'd rather be short the USD NOK at any given day. That's it, more or less. I think these are the things I had in mind to talk about. So let me go over your questions and see what we can look for you. 1969 CAD high school. Okay. Here, back to the to the car conversation. Democrats have released tax increases, corporate to 25% and 3% capital gains on wealth, on the wealthy. Okay. Yeah. Tax increases. Now, somebody naively enough can make the argument that Democrats are increasing taxes while Republicans were cutting taxes. In my opinion, this is a very shallow interpretation of things. I've said it multiple times in the past, and many people unfortunately don't realize it. And I said it before it became obvious from the prints. There is no tax more unjust and more improper than the inflation tax. And from my observation as an outsider, there has been no parties in the US that haven't really been increasing substantially the inflation tax over time. So, you know, it's one thing increasing, you know, the well-known taxes. In my opinion, if you ask me, with the situation being where it is, at least it's a more honest way. Let me be very clear. I'm against taxes, full stop. But, you know, if instead of taxation, the solution is inflating away, if I had to choose between the two of them, I would rather take the honest tax that's being reported to you and you know exactly how much you pay and for what, than the dishonest way of taking away your purchasing power instead of taking away your money directly, taking away your purchasing power via inflating away the debt. GILD, let's see. this one, right? Some kind of a consolidation taking place here, given the prior triangle. I would have to say that this consolidation looks corrective to me. This is likely a channel. Yeah, channels perfectly. And as you see, we found a low at the previous flat top triangle trend line resistance, right? So yeah, especially, and this also creates a nice short-term risk-reward opportunity as long as we trade above 70, and especially if we break above this trend line resistance, which is very near. I mean, it's somewhere at like 72.30, somewhere there. I think there is no reason to be bearish here, right? The rebound hasn't really been spectacular in any way. But in any case, as long as we trade above 70, I see no bearish argument to be made from a technical perspective here. SMH. Yeah, still grinding higher. Still not persuasive enough, if you ask me. Because we still have divergences in momentum. We still have an absence of an impulsive move that would confirm a bullish breakout after a prolonged corrective move. So it really makes me skeptical about if we've begun a new move higher or we're simply still unfolding some last part of this bullish trend before we get a deep corrective move lower. This seems to be a nice channel also, the one I just drew. So I would be very skeptical here. Next upside target in any case is 285, right? And clearly we still have a series of higher lows. So I'm not implying that we're currently bearish, right? I'm just saying that I'm worried that we might be near a deep pullback and not at levels that you should be considering buying. That's all the argument I'm making. Poly, P-O-L-I. Is this the one? Yeah, probably it's the one because we've seen it before from what I see. Yeah, still looks and behaves well. Still looks and behaves well. Let's extend this corrective move lower. As it seems, by the way, as it seems, the light coin in news might have been unconfirmed or fake or something like that.
They've deleted it already, right? I think somebody tweeted something and it's gone.
I want to see how much money were made and lost. Let's have a look out of curiosity.
Look at this, but they're back down now. Bitcoin's back down to -3%. Ethereum is down 6%. So yeah, whatever that was.
You know how this is called, Stelios, right?
What?
Other than pump and dump. Thanks for playing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
That's how it's called. Thanks for playing, suckers.
Wow.
Yeah, it is an unbelievable spoof. Unbelievable. If indeed the news remain retracted and prove to be falls. Yeah, this is why.
What was the exact tweet actually? Because I was out.
It was about Litecoin. I just sat back down and oh my God, that's horrible.
What was it that they're going to accept?
They're going to take payments at Walmart with Litecoin. I'm like, okay, you know, but
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, this is one of the main reasons why I can't just think myself, because I like to think myself as an investor mostly. I mean, having to do with my time horizon, you know, I'm not a scalper or whatever. I can't think myself trading these things, honestly.
Yeah, me neither.
It's like a zoo, literally. It's like they throw you after, they take you from the city, they throw you in the zoo, and there are no rules.
Yeah.
Whatever. Good luck to whoever is doing it. You know, you have my sympathies. I mean, I hope you're making money doing it, but in all honesty, I just, yeah, no thanks. I'm not going to be playing. Let's see. Where were we? Poly. Yeah, we had a look at Poly. FSLR. Let's have a look at it. Okay, what's out here in FSLR, right? We've talked about, you know, potential for more downside as part of a, you know, larger correction, and we gave the example. Don't forget that this line here is arbitrary, right? But we gave the example that perhaps this whole move, meaning the move lower and then the subsequent move higher, might be part of a bigger corrective move. I haven't changed my mind. I still don't see the impulsive momentum you would expect if indeed the corrective move was this part here. So I would remain skeptical before calling this a market that has bottomed. I think that there might be more to go before this market actually finishes off whichever type of corrective move it's unfolding. SB. Is this the SB we're talking about? Yeah, it is, because you wrote about 445. Bullish. Right. Bullish. We confirm a break above 445. And I think this is a breakout that should be targeting 482 and 533 next levels to the upside. So currently at a pivot area, this exact level has acted as resistance already 4 times. Let's see if this is going to be the 5th, but we break above it. If this is not the 5th time and we actually break above it, I think it's going to be a significant breakout, targeting higher levels. As simple as that. I would definitely, as always, wait for the end of the day before I call this a breakout, right? Just because we're trading like 2 cents above resistance intraday doesn't tell me anything. Now we close above it, we stay a day above it, or whatever. I think then you can start looking for a nice follow through. AMD. And then I'm going to have a look at the rest of the cryptocurrencies because I see some of you are mentioning it. So AMD, last time we had a look at it, we were there, and I said this looks to me that it's not a, you know, done move to the downside. That seems to be the case, although it has started unfolding in a little bit of a different manner. I think I would probably turn this into something like this, with support being arbitrary at the moment, an arbitrary line more or less. I think we're not done correcting lower here. 99 is an obvious first area of support, right? A very obvious first area of support. So we have some room until 99, which I see no real support until we get there. And we break through that, then I think we're opening the door for the 200 daily moving average at 90. I think this move is going to be corrective to the downside. We have a big impulsive move here. AMD is actually doing very well, very good, for multiple reasons, which I've explained in the past. So I would expect this move lower to be corrective. Let's see what happens at 90, and we take it from there. Just remind me. Look at ETH 3180. Jane says, what a scam. ARK and IW. Okay, let's that would be security, something SEC. I'm trying to prove with XRP. I agree with you. I think it should, yeah, they should be monitored and controlled by the SEC. Not hard to believe since LTC is not near as popular. Indeed, LTC is popular in Asia, says Jane. And the question about AJ, I'm assuming that AJ is the Aussie yen. Okay, let's have a look at cryptocurrencies and we'll go over the rest that were requested. Let's see how Bitcoin is doing post-event. Oh, okay, guys and girls, as it seems, we now have the catalyst for the next move lower that we were expecting in Bitcoin. Here's what I have drawn in Bitcoin and here's what I've drawn in Ethereum. I even wrote in the weekend analysis that I'm expecting one more leg lower. I think this pump and dump scheme with Litecoin is going probably to be the catalyst for the exact opposite thing, meaning another leg lower in cryptos. So in the case of Ethereum, 2,900 and 2,500 are the next downside targets. In the case of Bitcoin, key support level, in my opinion, is 42,500. And below 42,500, we're looking at 37,500 being next. ARK and IWO. Let's have a look at ARK. Okay, ARK. Some kind of consolidation is taking place here. I think you should still stay in wait and see mode here with ARK. I've explained the reasons before. Multiple consolidations and moves that are not impulsive. So I'm not persuaded at all that we've seen the end of this move lower. But B, on the other hand, there is no concrete evidence that we haven't found a low there at the 96.35, which would keep me sidelined until we get more clarity, technically speaking, right? So nothing has changed with ARK, in my opinion, since the last time we had a look at it. IWO, nothing has changed here as well. Look at another nice rejection. So let's keep this trend line like that for the time being. And in my opinion, you should remain patient. It's more than obvious that we're still unfolding some kind of a big corrective move. RSI is also confirming that by not producing overbought or oversold readings for quite some time. So, just be patient here also. My pleasure, mate. And AJ, yes, Aussie yen. So here is Aussie yen. And, since we are at it, why not? We can have a look at Kiwi yen as well. So here is Aussie yen. Here is Kiwi yen. I'm going to start from the Kiwi yen for the obvious reason that it has a cleaner technical picture. And you can see it here, right? In my opinion, a rather impulsive move higher, a breakout from the corrective channel lower, and the recent price action looks very corrective to me. I'm expecting, as a more likely scenario, to get a bullish breakout and an attack of the 80.18 high, which, by the way, is a multi-year high, right? We have to go back to January of 2018. So we have to, in essence, go back 3.5 years to find an equivalent reading. So Kiwi yen, in my opinion, even to an amateur, looks rather technically clean and not as bullish looking, but in my opinion, Aussie yen, for similar reasons, looks rather decent. We found a low over there. at a nice confluence of supports. We had a very nice move to the upside. We broke through this channel. In my opinion, as long as we remain above this broken channel, the path of least resistance remains higher, and I would expect the Aussie yen to most likely soon continue its merry way higher. NAVX. Did I write something wrong, Amira? Doesn't seem to have a ticker like this. Or did you? No, I didn't write something wrong. Did you write something wrong in the ticker? NVAX. Okay. Nothing has changed. Short-term picture, this ascending channel. Medium-term picture, in my opinion, this line is arbitrary. We just drew it because we were discussing the possibility of being in some kind of a bigger corrective move, let's say a triangle, right? I think this is not something you should be buying or selling currently. I think this is another ticker that you should just continue monitoring before you take any positions here, because I don't see this market having a direction at the moment, and it hasn't had a direction for quite some time, since almost the beginning of the year. So it's like more than 6 months that this market has been directionless. Moves we've seen in either direction don't have impulsive characteristics, and that would keep me sidelined and, you know, looking for other opportunities if you want to trade something imminently, which I know you are trading several stuff. I think that should not be one of them. Not unless you want to trade like intraday, you know, like selling resistance, buying support on short-term charts. MP, military police, what is this? Okay.
Member of Parliament.
Yeah. Let's extend this. There we go. This recent rebound higher is very weak and very uninspiring. So I would be very, very skeptical. I think that the path of least resistance remains lower in this case. Although if you look at a little bit of the bigger picture, you know, I would be neutral, but looking a little bit shorter term, I would probably favor the downside than the upside at the moment and where we currently are. Okay, perfect. I think we covered a plethora of questions. I wish you all a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you, Steve. Guys. Thank you, everybody.